Yo, what is going on YouTube? This is your boy Down, aka aDrive. I bring you guys week 15 of the UCL. The St. Louis Rampardos are taking on the Pittsburgh Pichus and Coach NumbNexus here for our last match of the UCL season. If you guys don't know, last week, unfortunately, we did lose in a pretty close matchup. It came down actually to a damage roll on Vaporeon, about a 50-50, 40-60 chance that we would live, and unfortunately that did result in us losing and essentially being eliminated from the league at this point. So this match really doesn't mean anything, but I do want to talk about kind of why it does mean something here in a minute. I did not do a team builder this week, guys. Nexus and I had to schedule the time, then we had to reschedule it. He asked to play earlier. I didn't have time to fill the team builder. If you don't know from Twitter, my dog's been really sick. She seems to be doing better now, but I've been at the vet, no joke, guys, 7 times in 8 days. I had to take my dog to the vet. So as you can probably imagine, things have been a little crazy here, and I haven't really quite had the time to do the team builder and things like that. So anyway, let me talk about kind of this matchup here. I will do a brief team builder right now, though. This matchup does not matter for me, but it does matter for Jay, YT Gamer, and Nexus, because if Nexus wins, then Nexus basically makes the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. If Jay loses, and I think Jay plays Miguel, which is a very tough opponent, but if Jay wins and Nexus wins, or if Jay loses and Nexus wins, then Nexus has the tiebreaker over Jay. So anyway, the match does matter for those two, and out of respect to those two, I felt that it was only fair for me to do my best to prep and bring the best team to possibly win, because I didn't want to bring kind of like a half-made team and like kind of throw it together and basically kind of throw Jay's chances out of the window. That wouldn't have been right of me. I would have felt bad about it. So even though I did talk about bringing Stoutland this week, guys, I really wanted to, but out of respect to my opponents and out of respect to Jay, who's trying to make the playoffs, I just didn't feel right about it. So I'm sorry if you guys wanted to see Stoutland or Ditto or any of those Pokemon. I just didn't feel that they were right in this matchup here. And unfortunately, we go the whole season without bringing Stoutland. But again, I just felt morally like I needed to do whatever I could do to try to win this match, just out of respect for my other opponents. You know what I mean? It would have been pretty lame if I kind of threw the match and then Jay doesn't make the playoffs as a result. Whereas if Nexus beats me fair and square and I try, then you know what I mean? It just feels better that way to me. So let's talk a little bit about our team here. I'll kind of run through it pretty quickly. You can see it all on the screen, what I'm predicting Nexus to bring and what I'm bringing, but I'll kind of run through things pretty quickly. So first thing is we're running our Quiver here, King Tut, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Psychic, Shadow Ball. This is a primary response to not only the Lopunny, but also a Azumarill. The reason why is the Mummy ability is actually going to remove Azumarill's huge power, which makes it a lot less effective, and it also gets rid of the Scrappy on the Lopunny, making it so Lopunny can no longer hit me with normal or fighting type moves. So while Quiver still is not going to like taking 2 returns or 2 high jump kicks, I can at least take the hits, get rid of his Mummy, and force him to use another move like Ice Punch or Fire Punch. So I really like that. I can also threat him out with a Burn. I've got the Psychic there to hit the Lopunny, so we do have that going for us as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to touch it. I had tossed back and forth with a couple different variations, like a Toxic Spikes variant and stuff, but I felt that this was probably the best variant. Just Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Psychic, Shadow Ball, just defensive. Could have ran Trick Room, but again, I kind of wanted to just reliably have answers to Lopunny and Nazu because they're just such huge threats. So I figured this was kind of the best way to go about it. Our next Pokemon is going to be our Asparagus here, our Venusaur, rocking Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power, Fire for the Fortress, Giga Drain, and Leech Seed. I decided to go Leech Seed over Synthesis because you're going to see here in a second that I am running a Smooth Rock Tyranitar, so I didn't want to get caught in the sand trying to Synthesis recover. I felt that the Leech Seed would be very effective in wearing down his team over time and also providing that recovery that I need. Venusaur stands, it's actually kind of split bulk, but a lot on the physical side of things, mainly because I want to be able to check the Azumarill better. I want to be able to come in on superpowers from Hydreigon. Obviously, Dracos are going to hurt quite a bit, but we do have the option to take those hits. I can take repeated hits from Darmanitan and stuff too, as long as I get that Thick Fat activated from the Mega Evolution. So a couple different options there. We do have our Tyranitar here, our Godzilla, which is running the kind of the defensive support Tyranitar this week. Stealth Rock, Fire Blast, Stone Edge, Crunch. With the Smooth Rock for 8 turns of Sand. Obviously going to be running Sand Excadrill this week, as it does have a decent matchup. Not the best matchup, but it does have a decent matchup. And I had tossed up between running like a bulky Excadrill and Delphox versus T-Tar and Excadrill, but I went with the T-Tar. I think T-Tar is very good because it gives me a reliable switch in. Well, semi-reliable to Hydreigon. Obviously, it gets superpower, but I can at least take some of the special hits, specifically the Dark Pulse and stuff. It gives me something to switch in onto Zapdos, and that Stone Edge got a little bit of attack investment there. And I didn't mention before, but we did have some speed on Quiver for the Slowking. Got a tiny bit of speed on Venusaur, and I believe the speed on Venusaur was to make it so I outspeed Adamant Max Speed Azu. So I did do a couple little speed creeps there. But Fire Blast for Fortress. Obviously, Stone Edge just hits Zapdos really hard. It hits generally pretty hard against this team. And I'm running Crunch specifically for Slowking and Hoopa. While I don't know if he's necessarily going to bring them, I just felt like having Crunch as another response to Slowking would be very valuable, because otherwise Slowking is a bit of a problem for my team, if I'm being totally honest, especially if he can get some Scald Burn. So I just felt that was the best play, is to rock the Crunch here. Because T-Wave didn't really make a lot of sense. Toxic didn't really make a lot of sense. So that kind of just made the most sense to me. Next Pokemon we're going to be bringing is our Earhart here, Salamence, which is basically our setup sweeper and our cleaner this match. Max attack, max speed, so I can speed tie with max speed Zapdos, but more importantly speed tie or outspeed Hydreigon. At +1, I outspeed his entire team, except for Scarf Virizion, which would be kind of strange. Dragon Dance, Fire Blast, Dragon Claw, Stone Edge. Fire Blast obviously to hit the Fortress. Unfortunately, EQ does not 2 KO Fortress, even at +1 with Life Orb. We have Intimidate on there. I'm actually supposed to have Moxie. That's a misgen, but I'm not going to change it at this point because the match is in 2 minutes, so I don't really have time to change it. But it was supposed to be Moxie, but Intimidate is actually okay too. I kind of tossed back and forth a little bit, so I guess my decision was made for me. But Fire Blast, obviously, it's Fortress. At +1 with the Life Orb and be hitting things incredibly hard. And I guess the Intimidate will help us to take hits from other things and maybe weaken their attack like Darmanitan or something. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. But that's going to be our Salamence here. Definitely hoping to set up and sweep. We've got our Excadrill here, which is Adamant, Life Orb, Sand Rush, max attack, enough speed to make sure I outspeed, like Scarf Hydreigon, Scarf, I think, Virizion, max speed, low punny, things like that. We've got the Earthquake, X-Scissor, Rock Slide, Rapid Spin. No need for Iron Head. Earthquake is going to destroy the Azu unless he Aqua Jets me. X-Scissor hits things like Slowking and things like that. Virizion for neutral. And Rock Slide obviously is going to hit the Zapdos too. It KOs that. Hits the Darm if I don't want to Earthquake. Whatever. You know what I mean? So Earthquake is really kind of the move to pick there. But having the Rock Slide is nice. I have to bring Rapid Spin. Can't bring Swords Dance because if he starts setting up like hazards with that Fortress, it can be very problematic for my team. So I definitely needed that. And I could have ran Leftovers on this thing to kind of handle the Fortress a little bit better, but I wanted that extra power. It actually secures a couple 2-hit KOs with the extra power there. So really needed that Life Orb. And last but not least, kind of the glue that I believe holds the team together here. Oxygen, rocking, Calm Nature, max good amount of HP, max defense, a lot of special defense. I normally run Bold, but I switched it to Calm to allow us to take hits from Hydreigon a little bit better. We've got the Wish Protect to make sure we got some longevity there. Baton Pass just to kind of get some switching momentum. And Scald, obviously, to hopefully score some Scald burns. So that's our kind of lengthy team intro there. No team builder, like I said, that'll kind of cover that. And we do have a question of the day today, guys. Since we didn't make the playoffs, definitely a bummer, but have you enjoyed watching the Rampardos this season? This is the first season that I think I've ever really played that I didn't make the playoffs, so it's a little bit different for me. We made the playoffs in Season 4 GBA and Season 5 of the GBA and Season 6 of the GBA, and we made the playoffs in UCL and UCL Little Cup, and we made the playoffs in NPA, so this is the first time I'm not making the playoffs, so definitely a bit of a bummer, but it's all good, man, you know what I mean? We had a good season, and I will do a draft recap at some point, or a team recap, kind of discussing what I think were the problems with this team and why we didn't do as well as we could have. There was obviously some luck that wasn't on my side, but that's Pokemon for you. That happens no matter what. I've been on the opposite side of it and gotten a lot of good luck too, so can't really complain too much, but nevertheless, we're going to connect with the Nexus here, hopefully have a good time, hopefully have some fun. Again, this match means nothing to me, but I hope you guys enjoy it nevertheless, and I'm going to try my best to pick up a W, so let's get connected here with Nexus and see what happens. Alright guys, we are connected here with Nexus, going to find out what his team reveal is going to be here, and we're going to find out what he's going to bring, and hopefully we can pick up a W, man. 10-5 sounds just so much better than 9-6. It sounds so much better. It really does. But at the same time, this is a pretty stress-free matchup for me, like I said, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're just going to try to make some smart plays and hopefully pick up a W and all that good stuff. By the way, guys, a lot of people would ask me about the St. Louis Rampardos posters and things like that. They are coming, slightly delayed. We had some technical issues, I suppose. Not even technical issues, just like minor holds-ups, but they will be available soon, so kind of timing is a little off than what I would like, but they're going to be awesome, man. Limited edition St. Louis Rampardos posters. I posted them on my Instagram and stuff. They will be available. They're signed and numbered. Really, really cool. There may be some other cool stuff coming out too for the Rampardos, so you'll see very soon. And just for anyone wondering too, like a lot of people have been asking about more leagues, when the next leagues are. I can tell you I do plan on doing the GBA and the NPA again. Both leagues are probably scheduled to start in January or so, kind of after Pokebank and once people play Sun and Moon for a little while. And the UCL Season 3, I have all intentions of doing it again. I don't know when it's going to be though, probably in springtime or summertime if I had to guess. It's not official, so don't hold me to it, but that would be my best guess. I have no idea otherwise. So not a big deal. But I am going to be playing in leagues again for Sun and Moon. I'm excited to use new Pokemon. I'm excited to just play a new Pokemon game. I'm excited for the new competitive metagame. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm even thinking about diving into the VGC format a little bit, the doubles battle format. I've kind of experimented a little bit with it, and it seems pretty fun. So I'm open-minded to giving it a shot. You know, I don't know how well I'm going to do at it or whether it's going to be my favorite thing in the world, because I really do like this format, but I'm ready to give it a solid go here. So I don't know what Nexus is doing. I think he might be talking or something, so we'll just kind of wait and see what he's gonna bring. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring the Mega Lopunny. The thing's just a monster. Zapdos is really, really good as well. I think Azumarill is a very likely bring, just because that priority is really useful, and being able to take on the Ments and things like that is too good to pass up. Hydreigon is a huge, huge threat to my team. I expect him to bring like a Life Orb variant of Hydreigon. He could bring a Scarf variant, but I'm thinking that Life Orb variant might make more sense. Fortress is kind of a maybe. I'm not entirely sure if he's going to bring the Fortress or not. Darmanitan is also pretty likely, but if he brings Darmanitan, I would assume it's Scarfed, whereas the Hydreigon would be Life Orb. He could bring Hoopa, he could bring Slowking, maybe Virizion, although I don't really anticipate Virizion coming because of Venusaur and stuff. I don't really think Lantern is going to come, but it could. I feel like with Zapdos, Lantern doesn't make a ton of sense, and Poliwhirl and Kecleon are a little iffy. I feel like he would be better off bringing like Fortress or something. So those are the options. I know Lopunny and Zapdos and Hydreigon are definitely coming. Pretty sure Azumarill and the other two guys. You know, that seems to be the most likely scenario, and you know, we'll kind of see what he's doing here. I don't know why it's taking so long for preparations to be complete. Maybe I'll just do another quick cut until we're good. So let's do that. Let's just cut until we're good. Apparently the Wi-Fi is just incredibly slow today, but we pretty much get exactly what I expected. It does bring Slowking though, instead of Darmanitan, which does lead me to believe that there is a chance that Hydreigon could be choice Scarf Hydreigon, but I pretty much predicted this team as expected. It does bring Slowking, so I am glad I brought Crunch and X-Scissor to kind of handle that. In terms of leads, he could lead Fortress, he could lead Lopunny, he could try to lead maybe Zapdos or Hydreigon to get some initiative going. I didn't really think too much about my lead here. I think King Tut is a pretty solid lead because I could burn the Fortress. I can keep him from spin blocking. I could kind of pain split. I could actually burn almost anything. If he leads Zapdos, I can even burn that if he wants to like hard switch out. So I actually kind of like King Tut as a lead, especially since it matches up well against the Lopunny if he decides to just try to get that Mega Evolution off and fake out. So let's just do that. Not even going to try to like over predict or anything. We'll just lead with Cofagrigus here and see what he's going to do. If he does lead Hydreigon, I'll probably have to switch though because of the potential Dark Pulse, but we'll go into T-Tar and set up the Sand or something and kind of go from there. But I don't know if I necessarily predict a Hydreigon lead, but it could give me the intel as to whether he's Scarfed or not kind of right off the bat, so that'll be pretty useful. But this is actually probably going to be my last battle in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire before Sun and Moon comes out, which is pretty crazy to think about. I know we're still almost a month away, but I don't anticipate doing any more Wi-Fi battles in the next month. So this is probably my last battle, guys. I think this will probably be it. I mean, I may play some Pokemon Showdown, but I don't anticipate doing any other Wi-Fi battles. So this is it right here, guys. We're gonna hopefully end it on a nice win here. But let's see what he's gonna lead with here. Obviously, I'm hoping it's the Lopunny. I'm hoping it's the Lopunny just because I'll have a better Hero Degar, and that's going to be the Zapdos. Okay, so that's fine with me. I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, the worst thing he can do to me is Toxic, I would say. But I could potentially burn him, and it doesn't seem like he has a Cleric on his team. He may just Volt Switch here, but I actually do like the prospect of just going for a simple Will-O-Wisp right off the bat, finding out what kind of Zapdos this thing is. If he is offensive, we'll get some intel on that. I do have lefties, so he's not going to be able to 2-KO me unless he's like max special attack, Life Orb, Zapdos, which wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm expecting him to be more kind of like a bulky variant. It's going to be interesting to see whether he has HP Ice or HP Fighting, or what kind of coverage he's going to carry on this thing. He may very well run Defog. He may just have Rapid Spin on Fortress instead, which is one of the nice things about King Tut. If I get my rocks up, he can't spin them away. And those rocks are going to be very, very important to whittle down this Zapdos specifically, which is why I'm going for the Will-O-Wisp on turn 1 here, because if I could burn this thing, that would be incredibly useful for the rest of my squad to, again, whittle this thing down, because our primary strategy here is to kind of whittle this team down enough to the point where Excadrill can come in and sweep, but he's going to need things weakened to about this 60-ish% mark on most Pokemon for Excadrill to pick up a kill. So that's kind of our thought process here. We do have to be very careful with that Lopunny and its fake out and shenanigans like that, trying to stall out our sand turns or whatever else. So we'll have to kind of play this match pretty cautiously at least early game, to kind of scout out what set he's going to be bringing for the different Pokemon, why he's bringing them, and so on and so forth. And again, this match means everything to Nexus. He needs to win here to have any shot at the playoffs. He needs to win, and he needs Jay to lose. So he's just going to switch out here, which leads me to believe he does not have Volt Switch at all. And here comes Acknowledgia, which is going to be that Hydreigon, which is great. If I can hit this this Will-O-Wisp, that would be huge. So I do actually connect the Will-O-Wisp on the Hydreigon, and he is going to be burned, which is very, very nice. I actually burned the Hydreigon right away, right off the bat here. So it's very possible that he goes for a U-turn here. It's very possible that that's what he decides to do, just simply click U-turn. I'm thinking my best play is simply going into either Godzilla or Oxygen here. Godzilla for the primary purpose of taking either a Draco Meteor or a Dark Pulse. Oxygen to take both of those hits. I'm thinking Oxygen makes the most sense here though, because then I can kind of see what he's working with, whether he's Life Orb, whether he's Scarfed, and Oxygen has a better matchup against the rest of his team outside of maybe Zapdos. So let's do that. Let's just go into our Oxygen here, see what kind of set this Hydreigon's running. Whether he goes for a U-turn here, whether he tries to predict something funky, you know, I don't know. But that burn is very nice because we potentially could weaken a superpower coming off this thing, which otherwise would be very problematic for my Tyranitar. So let me just do a quick search on Hydreigon here. I know it pretty well. I had it last season. It does get Focus Blast, so the burn may not impact anything. But typically you run Superpower instead of Focus Blast, obviously due to the huge, chance of missing first and foremost, and second of all, because in this case, Tyranitar would get the boost from the sand in special defense side. So Superpower does seem more likely for Hydreigon, but we'll see what he's going to do here. My play, like I said, I'm going to Vaporeon. I know I could take a Draco Meteor. I know I could take a Dark Pulse, and so on and so forth. So he is likely just going to go for one of those moves here. He may just go for a U-turn if he's trying to scout out what my switching is going to be. He goes for the Workup. So he shows Workup on this thing. So he's a Workup Hydreigon, which is actually pretty scary because I don't know if I have a direct response to this thing. So what I'm actually going to do here, I'm simply going to just go for a Baton Pass because I need to switch out and I need to get something in against this thing that's going to be faster than it, which is going to be my Salamence. So I'm just going to straight up go for a Baton Pass here. I'll let my Oxygen take the hit if I have to. I'm sure he's simply going to go for an attack right now. But the Workup is definitely pretty scary. Definitely pretty scary, and we don't know what items he has otherwise, but he's sitting at about 70%. So let me make a note of that, 70% or so. And we see Workup, very interesting. Workup obviously boosting his attack and his defenses. I'm sorry, his attack and his special attack. Leading me to believe that this is a mixed Hydreigon here. But Baton Pass is going to allow me to go slower than the Hydreigon, take the hit, and go into Salamence for free, essentially. Now, obviously, that creates some problems because he can just go into Azumarill, but we're going to take this Dragon Pulse at +1, does a little over half. He does not show an item, so we're going to see the Dragon Pulse. And now I'm thinking I simply just go into my Salamence here. I will be able to get an Intimidate off here and immediately threaten him out because he knows I'm faster than him. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about it. So he knows I'm faster than him. So I really don't anticipate him saving this or sacking this thing off at this point in time. I think him going into his Aussie right now just makes all the sense in the world. So I think I'm going to actually make a play back into either my Vaporeon for health purposes or into my Venusaur. I'm thinking Venusaur makes the most sense though. So I'm going to make a double into my Venusaur now. And I'm going to expect him to switch out as well. I really wouldn't expect him to stay in here. And I do kind of want to keep my Salamence set quiet here. I don't really want him to know what kind of set I am yet. So it's all good. So we're going to go straight into our Venusaur here, predicting him to switch out. Because I don't really think he would stay in though. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for him to stay in here because he knows I'm faster. And Dragon Claw definitely knocks him out. The only instance where he would stay in is if he's a Bonberry, which would be very strange. I mean, it's possible that he's got a berry, but it's also possible he's got like a Dragon Fang or something like that. So, I mean, I don't know if he would stay in with the Habanberry. That'd be pretty baller status if he stays in here and just Dragon Pulses. But I'm pretty sure he's Dragon Pulse, Workup, Dark Pulse, and Superpower is what I would have to guess. I'm expecting Superpower, Dark Pulse as his last two moves. So we don't have to worry about a U-turn, it seems. But let's see what he's going to do here, because my play would be Dragon Claw typically, But again, I just don't want to allow that Azumarill to come in for free. And my Venusaur does have some special defense investment, so I know I can go into that here. If he does stay in a Dragon Pulse, man, I'm going to be put in a little bit of a tough situation. So we are obviously going to switch first because we're faster. So we're going to find out, you know, what he's going to do here. Whether he decides to stay in and go on the offensive or whether he's going to switch. I'm hoping he switches, obviously. And he does switch out, so most likely into Azu or Fortress. Here comes Bleezes. I'm assuming that is his Azu, and it is indeed, so that's fine with me. We've got a Hydreigon relatively weakened here. And now I'm in a situation where I'm just actually going to go for a Leech Seed here because I don't anticipate him staying in. If he goes for a Substitute, that would be pretty detrimental, but I think I can get a Leech Seed off on something. So let's Mega Evolve and go for the Leech Seed. There's not a whole lot that this thing can do. He is going to just switch out here pretty quickly. And in comes that Hydreigon again. No, in comes the Zapdos, I'm sorry. So this isn't bad for us, though, because I'm going to be able to Mega Evolve here and get off a Leech Seed, which is going to provide us with some reliable recovery against this Zapdos every single turn. Slowly start to weaken this thing down. And it's very possible that he has some sort of flying coverage on this thing. It's very possible he's got Air Cutter. I think that's probably the best thing that this thing gets, is Air Cutter. Let me take a look, because it is flying type, you know, obviously. Doesn't really get, I don't think it gets Air Slash or anything, but let's take a look here. It gets Drill Peck, Peck, Pluck, Drill Peck, Roost, Sky Drop, Fly. I mean, he does get some fly moves, Air Cutter. So let me kind of just take a quick look here and see kind of what I'm looking at against this thing, like whether he's going to be able to do a whole lot to me. Like Air Cutter does like a decent amount. Drill Peck, I mean, he's got to be pretty offensive to be able to do much to me. So I'm thinking a Sludge Bomb just makes a lot of sense here. I get a chance to poison him. So let's just fire off a quick Sludge Bomb. He's going to just go for the U-turn. So he does show the U-turn. Very interesting to note there. U-turn. And his health is sitting at about, let's say, 88% or so. So if he predicts the Sludge Bomb here, he's going to go right back into that Hydreigon, which is fine by me, because I'll get a Sludge Bomb off in this thing and start to weaken this thing quite a bit. Sludge Bomb plus that burn damage to bring this thing down to about 20% now. So it's very, very nice. Very, very nice. And actually what I can do here is I can simply go for a Leech Seed, because I know I could take a Dragon Pulse and I'll get some health back. So let's just go for the Leech Seed here. He's just going to go for that Dragon Pulse. It's probably going to bring us down to about half, I would guess. And it does do about that. The Leech Seed will come off. We will hit the Leech Seed. He's either going to die to burn or Leech Seed. I think Leech Seed probably goes first. It does go first, so we are going to get some health back, which is very nice. And I think we're going to be able to knock him out with the burn here. So that kill is actually going to go to Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus kills Hydreigon with Leech Seed. I'm sorry, with Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp burn. So I just keep notes personally, but Hydreigon out of the equation. Huge, huge threat down. Very excited about that. That thing was a huge problem. So here comes this thing, the Zapdos again. This is potentially the situation where he's going to try to go for like one of those moves, like a flying type move or something. So this is probably my best time to go into Godzilla, because I could try to get my rocks up now. And he could just U-turn out, but I really don't anticipate that. So let's go into Godzilla and try to find out a little bit more about this Zapdos here. Let's try to get a little bit more intel on this Zapdos. We're gonna have to count our sand turns here. Will he just go for the U-turn, or will he try to go for an offensive move here? So there's the Air Cutter, so I'm not surprised. I actually had a feeling that that'd be coming, and we're going to properly predict that. And that's going to be one turn of sand so far. Now, the question is, knowing that this thing is lefties, can he knock me out with an HP fighting from here? I highly doubt it. I very highly doubt it. We saw that Air Cutter did basically nothing to my Tyranitar. It did absolutely nothing. So, I mean, I could, if he has hidden power, I don't think he would have hidden power fighting, but I definitely live it. So I'm just going to go for my rocks here, I think. I think just getting my rocks up is probably my best situation. This could give him some offensive momentum, but I think getting those rocks up is going to be very important to not only break the sturdy on the Fortress, but also wear down the Zapdos. So I'm going to go for my Stealth Rocks here. He does go for the U-turn. And this is going to be turn 2 of sand. And again, we have a lot of sand turns. We got 8 turns of sand, so this is turn 2. Turn 2 of sand here. But I just want to get my rocks up. And if he goes into Fortress, I have an answer for it. If he goes into Azu, I'm a little bit more in a tough spot if Azu comes out here. I do have my Cofagrigus, though, which I can go into. If Fortress comes in, I get to Fire Blast it. or Crunch and then Fire Blast it probably. It's probably the better play, Crunch and then Fire Blast, because I know he's going to have the Sturdy. So if he goes into Slow King, I can Crunch it. If he goes into Low Punny, I go right into Cofagrigus. Here comes the Azu. So Azu comes back in. Now, is this a Belly Drum variant? That is the question. Either way, we're going to get our rocks up here, which is my best play in my opinion. He could either go for a Water type move or a Fairy type move here, because I don't know which. I think going into Oxygen here is a little bit on the risky side of things, especially considering where I'm at from a health perspective. But Vaporeon's primary purpose was to help me take on the Hydreigon in some ways. So going into Vaporeon isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. I could essentially be sacking it off though, which is kind of problematic. I think that's probably my best play though. So we're just going to make the play into Oxygen here. And this is going to be turn 3 of Sand. And if he's a Belly Drum variant, that's where this gets a little bit risky. If he sets up a Belly Drum right now, because he can potentially put in a lot of work with Aqua Jet. I mean, I obviously have the Cofagrigus though, which can get rid of his huge power. But would he bring a Belly Drum variant? Because if he has Belly Drum, that means he's got Play Rough. He's probably going to have Waterfall, Aqua Jet, Belly Drum. I mean, that's what it would be. Pardon my puppy barking. I don't know what she's barking at, but she'll eventually stop, I'd imagine. So let's see what he's going to go for. He just simply goes for the Play Rough here. And that will just knock us out. So definitely kind of a bummer there that he shows the Play Rough. And he's going to take some Sandstorm damage there. Okay, so let me just make a note. Azu kills Vaporeon with Play Rough. Okay, so I'm going to go into King Tut here. Actually, you know what? Let's go into Asparagus. Asparagus can take a hit, and I could simply just go for a Leech Seed on something. I'd imagine he can't knock me out with one hit here. I'd imagine. Actually, you know what I want to do? Let me take a look at Vaporeon versus Azumarill. Would Play Rough knock me out if he wasn't banded? Like, if he's not banded, it would have been close, so it's kind of hard to tell whether or not he's banded or not. So, and I don't think I saw Life Orb. So I'm going to go into Asparagus here, because I do believe I can take any hit from him, and I can just go for a Leech Seed at this point in time and get some health back on something. If he wants to go into that Zapdos, that's fine too. So let's just do that. Let's just hit him up with a Leech Seed here. And this is going to be turn 4 of Sand. He is going to switch out, so not surprising there. He's likely to go into that Zapdos again. So here comes Hidoodigurn. Totally can't say these names, but you're going to see that Stealth Rock damage come in clutch there, doing so much damage to this thing. And that's primarily why we have that. And now with the Sand turns, the Leech Seed turns, all this stuff wearing this thing down, it's forcing him in a situation where he may be forced to kind of go for some U-turns and some other shenanigans or whatever else. He does show the lefties, of course. He may not even have Roost, if I'm being honest. He may not even have Roost. So here's kind of a really tough play. This is going to be one of the tougher plays we have to make here. Do I think he's going to go for the Air Cutter? I actually don't. I think he's going to go for the U-turn. So I'm going to make the Sludge Bomb play here and stay in on this thing. I'm going to stay in on this thing because I feel like he's not going to Air Cutter. I think he's going to expect me to go back into my Tyranitar. And this is, I believe, 4 turns of Sand because I clearly don't know how to count. I always lose track, man. But this is turn 4, I think. Turn 1, I set the Sand. Turn 2, he U-turned as I Stealth Rocked. Turn 3, Play Rough on Vaporeon. Turn 4, Venusaur versus Zapdos. I believe that is, yeah, I believe that's where we're at. So he's gonna go for the U-turn. So we do predict that properly. We're gonna get some health back here. I really wanted to go for the Leech Seed again, like double Leech Seed, but it seemed a bit risky. So he knows a potential Sludge Bomb is coming his way now. He definitely knows that. And I am packing Hidden Power Fire for Fortress. I'm not going to let him know that. Not right away, anyway. But I am packing it. So we've got it as an option. He very well could go into his Fortress and try to Rapid Spin as well, which does give me an opportunity to go right into my Cofagrigus if I wanted to. But I'm trying to keep Cofagrigus as healthy as possible because of the low punny. That thing is just a ginormous threat, and I'm gonna need that Cofagrigus to be healthy to beat it. With Will-O-Wisp or even Psychic to potentially break substitutes on low punny. So here comes Baghdad, which is going to be that Fortress. So here comes the Fortress, does take some Stealth Rocks of damage. I'm going to get my Sludge Bomb, doesn't work because he's obviously Steel type. Now, he very well may Scout here. He's a Leftovers variant, nice to know. He very well may Scout for my Hidden Power Fire. He might just say, alright, Dan's got to be running HP Fire here, but I'm actually not going to go for it. I'm going to go for the Leech Seed instead. Getting health back on Asparagus to me is worth more at this point in time. If he gets up rocks, it's not a big deal. I do have the ability to spin the way, so he's going to predict the HP Fire here and switch out. And goes right back into the Zapdos, and look how much damage the Zapdos has taken. If I hit this Leech Seed, we're going to be in good shape. That's interesting, too, because Sand plus HP Fire might have been enough, but that's okay. We're going to get the Leech Seed back here, get some recovery up, and we're going to put him in a situation where if he decides to stay in to Air Cutter me, he will lose his Zapdos. If he decides to Roost here, he could potentially keep his Zapdos around. So he's got a tough decision to make here. Do I keep my Zapdos, or do I let it go down? So I think this is 6 turns of Sand. I have no idea, but we're sitting at about a little over half now. So I know I can take it. I know I can take the hit, but I think this is my opportunity to switch into Godzilla here. Because even if he U-turns, he dies on entry from Stealth Rocks at this point in time. So it's not really a big deal if he U-turns out. He could, if he U-turns out, it does bait in the Azu, which Asparagus is a great response to at this point in time. But I do feel that the Air Cutter is coming. I do feel that the Air Cutter is coming. So I'm going to make the play into Godzilla here. Even though it won't set the Sand again, I believe I can take an Air Cutter. And if he does U-turn, again, that's totally fine. But we'll see what he's going to do here. He goes for the Roost, so we do see the Roost on this thing. So I'm not too surprised there to see the Roost. I figured it was coming at some point, but I wanted to scout for it, truthfully. So I believe that's turn 6 of Sand. I mean, I'm not bringing in Excadrill for a sweep here anyway, so it's all good. But now this is, and we're going to get Leech Seed recovery back here, which is very nice. This is my opportunity now to click Stone Edge. Stone Edge obviously will actually knock out this thing from this range. And if he decides to switch into anything, even the Azumarill is not going to appreciate it. So we're just going to click Stone Edge here. Even though Lopunny doesn't want to take it, because after Rocks and Sandstorm, it's going to be taking a lot of damage. So fully expecting simply a U-turn here. He U-turns out, goes into either Slow King or Fortress or something like that. But I am carrying Crunch for the Slow King. Azu's not going to want to take a Stone Edge. No matter what, definitely not going to want to take a Stone Edge. The problem, though, is Azu is going to pick up a kill every time it comes in. That's the scary part about this thing. If he brings in Azu, he basically is going to get a kill because Venusaur cannot take repeated hits from Azu. So I'm going to have to make a decision on what I think is kind of my least valuable Pokemon if Azu comes in. So there's the U-turn. Going to take a little bit of damage here, about 20% or so. Not a huge deal. If the Azu comes in, we are going to hit it incredibly hard with a Stone Edge here. 80% accurate move. Got to hit this one. It's very important because the damage on the Slow King is important. The damage on the Azu is important. So here comes the Fortress, actually. So Fortress comes in. It's going to take a Stone Edge to the face here. We actually missed the Stone Edge. Definitely unfortunate there. Sandstorm goes away. He's going to get lefties. Now, does he think I have Fire Blast or not? That is the question. I have no idea, but I'm going to go for the Fire Blast, I think. I think it's worth it to keep him from rapid spinning. So we're just going to go for the Fire Blast. If he makes the play, he's going to stay in here. Fire Blast will connect. This should knock this thing out. It does connect on the Fortress and does knock him out. So T-Tar kills that Fortress, baby. Kills Fortress with Fire Blast. And that means Stealth Rocks are here to stay. That is very, very nice. So T-Tar knocking out the Fortress. Here comes the Azu, which is very, very scary for my team, as you can probably imagine. I have to make a very tough decision here. What Pokemon do I allow to go down at this point in time? I got to keep my Godzilla alive because we're in a situation where Excadrill is looking like it may be able to sweep. So now I have to make the decision of what I go into to handle this thing. Now, I don't think going into Asparagus here is the right play because I don't want to get two-shot by an Azu because I think he might be banded. And Azu going for a Play Rough on me is going to be a 2-hit KO. It's going to be a 2-hit KO. It's going to be close, actually, whether it's 2-hit KO or not. So I could try it. I could try the Asparagus. I'm at 114 out of 187. Which, hold on, where did I even type that? 114 out of 187. So that puts me at what? 60%. And it looks like max damage roll from Banded. Play Rough does 30.4. I don't really think there's anything else he can do against me. So you know what? We are going to make the play in Asparagus here. He's going to switch out, probably predicting that. and goes into that Zapdos again. Okay, so he's gonna go into that Zapdos again, put the pressure on us, and so he makes a good play there. He makes a really good play, threatening out or bringing out our Venusaur for his Zapdos to essentially air cutter or do whatever he wants with. He's gonna get some health back here, and this is an opportunity for him to try to either go for a roost or whatever he wants to do. But I could just go back into Godzilla here, set my sand, and then we're starting to put some pressure on him. Definitely gonna put some pressure on him. Or I can go into Earhart here and start to set up on him, which is the play I actually like the most. Although I'm not gonna be doing too much to Slow King yet, but I could get the situation I need to start to break down his team. Because realistically, it doesn't seem like this thing can touch my Salamence very much. So let's go for that play. Let's go into Salamence here. I don't want to take an air cutter. It's not worth it to me. So we're going to go into Salamence here, and I'm going to get my Dragon Dance off. And we're going to find out what this thing's working with here in a second. He may just roost here. He may do something. Let's see. He's going to simply go for the roost. Okay. So this is my opportunity to click Dragon Dance. This is my opportunity to click Dragon Dance at this point, because I don't think Azu is going to want to take it at this range. If I'm +1 against Azu, assuming he's banded, I'm going to be doing about 70 to 80%. So we're going to be hitting him pretty hard here. I don't exactly remember how much he was at, but I'm going to go for the Dragon Dance here. And I don't think he has HP Ice. His last move is most likely Thunderbolt, if I had to guess. So we're gonna click the Dragon Dance here. So my antivirus software decides to pop up in the middle of my recording. That's great timing. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting here. This is gonna be very interesting coming down these last couple turns, because every time Azu comes in, it just destroys me. It just destroys my team, especially with Venusaur as weakened as it is. And this Zapdos has proven to be about as annoying as I expected it to be, which is why I have so much coverage for it. It's actually why I'm running Stone Edge instead of Earthquake or Thunder Fang, specifically for the Zapdos, because I knew how important it was going to be for me to be able to knock this thing out, or at least come close to knocking it out at +1. At +1, it looks like I actually do knock him out because we have the Life Orb. So if I can get this Dragon Dance off here, that could put us in a pretty good spot. So we are going to get the Dragon Dance off. We are faster. I don't think he's going to have HP Ice. If he does, just pro planning on his part. There would be nothing I could do about that. He goes for the T-Bolt here. I am Naive Nature, which is this is going to hurt. Definitely hurts. Gets us down to about half. So that's fine. We do find out what this thing's set is. And a Stone Edge should be enough to knock this thing out at this range. I'm going to run the calc one more time just to make sure. +1 Life Orb versus defensive Zapdos, standard defensive Zapdos, max HP, almost max defense bold, 101 to 119. This should knock him out. I'm going to go for the Stone Edge here. Got to hit it, baby. 80%, man. 8 times out of 10. We're going to hit it. We're going to hit this one. We missed the last one, so we're going to hit this one. Stone Edge comes off, does connect. This should knock him out under most circumstances, and it does. We get rid of the Zapdos, baby. So, Salamence kills Zapdos with Stone Edge. Beautiful. Now, this is an interesting situation here, because Lopunny is probably coming out. He's probably going to go for the Fake Out here. Can I live a Fake Out? That is the question. Can I live a Fake Out from a Lopunny? At 66. Let me see here. All out attacker. I have to actually calc Adamant. Fake Out does 28 to 33. I'm at 66 out of 171. So I'm at 38. So I 1,000,000% live a Fake Out. And Salamence is going to be able to knock him out with Dragon Claw. So I have to take the hit here, and I'm just going to simply go. You know what he could do, though? He could Fake Out and then switch into Azu to take the Dragon Claw. He could do some shenanigans like that. He definitely could do some shenanigans like that. I could go into Cofagrigus here to gain momentum, though, and burn something, whether it's the Slow King, whether it's the Azu. I think that's actually my best bet, saving this thing, because I know the Fake Out's coming, and it's going to put me in a situation where he's going to just be able to go into his Azu to take a Dragon Claw, and then simply fire off an Aqua Jet. So I'm going to go into my King Tut here. Even though I'm +1, I think this is the right play. Because if he Fake Outs, he's going to get the Mummy, and he's going to be forced to switch. So he is going to Mega Evolve here. And we are setting ourselves up nicely for this Excadrill potential sweep, but I am worried about that Azumarill with Aqua Jet. That's the biggest thing. He is going to go for the Fake Out. It's going to convert him to Mummy, which is very nice. He gets a crit there, which is fine, which means he can no longer touch us with his other moves. Very nice. Very nice. Let me just make some notes here, because I accidentally said that the other Pokemon was dead. Okay. So now my play simply is actually, I can either go for the Will-O-Wisp or I can go for the Psychic. I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, predicting him to switch out. If the Slowking comes in, it's fine. I'll hit it pretty hard. We'll get residual damage on Slowking, which is very nice. And if we burn something, I mean, that's really nice too. I mean, if he goes into Slowking, that's fine. I mean, I have the Shadow Ball. I could beat that thing. You know, I can hit it really hard with the Shadow Ball, plus the burn, plus the Stealth Rock's damage. So he's definitely going to get whittled down if we can connect this. Psychic is another option. I mean, I already clicked Will-O-Wisp. Psychic was another option to hit the Lopunny in case he substitutes here. But since I saw Fake Out, I don't really see the room on his moveset for sub. I mean, it could be sub, high jump kick, return, Fake Out, but then he can't touch me. So, to me, this is the right play. And another reason why I saved Salamence too, guys, is like I said, that Azumarill I'm thinking is banded. And I don't want to allow that thing to come in for free. At least if I go into Salamence, I can potentially, you know, work with that. So he does go into his Azu here. And this thing, if I hit this Will-O-Wisp, that is going to severely cripple this Azu. We are going to connect the Will-O-Wisp, and we are going to burn the Azumarill, which is going to severely hinder its usefulness in this matchup. Severely, severely, severely. In fact, we pretty much just crippled it entirely. The knockoff is his most likely play, unless he decides to switch here. So I'm just going to make a swap right into my Asparagus. I really lose nothing by that. If he wants to go into his Slowking, that's fine. If he wants to go into Lopunny, I switch right back into my Confagus again. Don't really have to worry too much there. And because of the burn, he's not able to go for any sort of belly drum shenanigans. I do believe he's banded at this point, though. So we'll see what he's going to go for here. But I'm in a situation where I get to just Giga Drain now. He goes to the knockoff, so pretty much what I expected to happen. Giga Drain is definitely my best play. It's going to hurt the Lopunny the most and give me as much health back as I possibly can. So we are just going to click Giga Drain. If Slowking comes in, we'll get some health back from that as well. So that's not a bad situation. He's going to just sack this thing off, so he's going to go for the knockoff again. So in that case, Leech Seed might have been the better play, but Giga Drain will be enough to knock him out and get us a lot of health back. So Venusaur kills Azu with Giga Drain, and that's one less threat out of the way. So he's left to Slowking and Lopunny. And the thing about Slowking that I have to worry about here comes Harambe. The thing about Slowking that I have to worry about here is it's setting up Calm Minds in my face. So as a result of that, I am simply going to go for the Leech Seed here, just to be safe, keeping him from setting up Calm Minds in my face. We are going to connect Leech Seed. If he goes for a Psychic here, that's totally fine. Again, my objective here is just to keep this thing from potentially setting up. So he does show the Trick Room, so that was exactly my point. Just wanted to be safe there with the Slowking, because I knew it could potentially be problematic otherwise. Let me just make a note that Slowking is still alive, because I always forget that. He's Trick Room and Leech Seeded. Trick Room. So now that he's Trick Room, I kind of have to make a tough call here of what to go into. I'm simply going to go into my Earhart here, because I can get the Intimidate off on him, I think, and I think that's worth more than anything else I could do at this point in time. I also could just Giga Drain and try to take one hit. Can I live one hit from this thing with Venusaur? I think I just actually should just stay in. The reason why I'm debating on switching is simply because I get more Leech Seed recovery, but I can probably live a Psyshock or a Psychic at this point. Would he have? Which one would he have though? Would he have Psychic or Psyshock? If he's like super offensive, Psychic I don't live, Psyshock I do. I'm gonna just Giga Drain. If he knocks me out, it's fine. He goes for the Scald, so he predicts the switch or tries to get a burn on me, whichever it may be, and he does not get the burn, so that's fine. We're gonna get a Giga Drain off here, do a tremendous amount to him, and now we can definitely live another hit, which is very nice. We're gonna get some health back here, and that Trick Room is starting to run out. Trick Room is starting to run out. And again, I can definitely live any hit at this point in time. So I'm simply going to just go for the... I think I just go for the Giga Drain here just to make sure I knock him out. So let's do that. Let's just go for the Giga Drain. And if he goes for Psychic or Psyshot, that's fine. And the thing is, I'm actually going to be faster than Lopunny now too, because the Trick Room will still be active for another turn or so. So that's actually really cool, because I could Sludge Bomb it, or I could Giga Drain it, or I could even try to Leech Seed it. But this is looking pretty good for us here. He's going to simply go for the Scald. So I don't know if he doesn't have the Psychic move or if he felt that going for the burn was the best play. I'm not sure. But Venusaur does pick up another kill. So Venusaur kills Slowking with Giga Drain. And it's looking like we're going to have this one, guys, unless this Lopunny is some crazy set. Because I do have my Quiver that puts in a really good spot against this Lopunny. But what I'll do is I'll simply just go for a couple Sludge Bombs here and try to do as much damage as I can. And if I need to go into Quiver, we do have that option. But, and I do still have obviously the option to set up sand and do things like that. So we're going to go for the Sludge Bomb here. We are faster to the Trick Room. That's going to do a tremendous amount of damage to him. He's going to just go for the return here, which is going to do a lot to us. Obviously, bring us down. Doesn't actually do half. And the Trick Room is still up, so I'm just going to click Sludge Bomb again. And I do believe that is going to be the game. So Venusaur, I'm assuming anyway. Venusaur kills Lopunny with Sludge Bomb. And that is going to be the game, guys. So we're going to take the win there. I don't even know what that was. Is that a 4-0, a 5-0? We're going to find out. It's a 5-0, so we're going to take a 5-0. Kind of bittersweet, though, man, because obviously we're out for the season. You know, we had a couple instances where maybe we could have won a match and we didn't. And we're going to just narrowly miss the playoffs by one game, man. By one game. We're going to be the 5th team in the league. Playoffs are only top 4 guys. So, unfortunately, this is where our St. Louis Rampardos season ends. Not much to be disappointed about with 10-5 though, guys. Like, first of all, by the way, I didn't say it before, but please go check out Nexus, guys. He's awesome, one of my good friends. So definitely check him out. But definitely not a disappointment to go 10-5. 10-5 is like a really good record, especially considering how good the league has been this season. But it's always a bummer to not make the playoffs, obviously, and definitely a little bittersweet. But you know what? We end on a really positive note. Our ORAS battle career, guys. We had some amazing, amazing moments. Some really cool championship matches. Some amazing playoff runs. It's been a wild ride playing competitive Pokemon in ORAS, guys. It's been an absolute blast. And I hope you guys are hyped for what the St. Louis Rampardos and the New York Metapods have in store for you guys for 2017. It should be an absolute blast. So thank you guys. Again, will do a team recap video at some point. But thank you guys for all the love and the support, supporting the Rampardos and just supporting me, my content, my dreams, guys. It means absolutely the world to me. So thank you guys for that. That is going to be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.